Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, we're going to be diving in and I'm going to be sharing with you guys the shorter time frames of Bitcoin and basically giving you guys an explanation for how I think the price action is going to be playing out. I see a lot of big momentum that's starting to shift in not only Bitcoin's direction, but the stock market and even many altcoins are starting to wake up as well. Today we're going to be talking about what this means going over the next couple months of crypto, analyzing the shorter perspective of Bitcoin, talking about where I think a good time to be getting into some altcoins is going to be, and then finishing it up by talking about a couple key altcoins that I think are going to be outperforming this cycle very soon. If you're new and just find this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server or go ahead and download the free ebook. Links are in the description to go ahead and check out both. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. With that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so to start off today's video, we're going to get right into it talking about the shorter time frame with Bitcoin. In my last video, I talked about why I expect Bitcoin to rally upwards of 30,000 and 40,000. And today I wanted to actually talk about what we're going to be seeing next week and even going into this weekend. So first things first, guys, next week we do have some new inflation data that's going to get published. And when that happens, generally it's been bad for Bitcoin. But with that being said, there is going to be a point in time, and I think that that point in time is coming up very soon, where the numbers are going to be, not quite as bad as they were the month before, and then we'll start to see a little bit of a rise inside the markets. I personally think that we're at that point just simply because of the fact what we're in the middle of is gearing up for the midterm elections. The people in office don't want to relinquish their power. They want their buddies to get reelected or they want their buddies to stay in office. And so when that happens, ultimately they're going to drive the markets higher. They're going to do what they can to get a lot more confidence from the social populace, right? And so that's why I believe that we're actually at this same point where the markets have been trending down for so long, the inflation has been so high, but eventually there is a point where gas has been dropping a little bit. Obviously it's up significantly over the last year and a half. But when we're looking in terms of the last year and the big picture, gas prices have only been going up consistently for the last year and a half. We've only ever seen the gas prices going up once Biden took office. And so over the last month and a half, we've actually started to see them pull back. And so I think that that's going to translate into this inflation data. When that happens, we might see it tick down a couple points. That might be just enough to give crypto a little bit of breathing room for it to go up. But in the short term, that data is going to get published next week. And so with that happening and us going into this weekend, so far the OBV is trending down. We have this resistance. We've had the resistance since all the way up here. Even though prices have broken out from this descending resistance, the OBV has not. We made a move all the way up to the 50-day moving average. We weren't able to actually get a move above it until this one. And so now that we have price moving above the 50-day, but the OBV is actually closing below, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see this pump that we just had get faded into this weekend, and we might have something along the lines of this. Or if we ended up going below the 50-day, that could set us for another attempt at these range lows. We're going to watch and see exactly what ends up playing out. Like I said, I think this inflation data is going to be key in all of this. But with the OBV really not giving us a clear breakout yet, we're still below resistance. That tells me that this pump can't quite be trusted yet. And so I'm not personally going to be trusting it, especially with going into the weekend and then us having all of the data coming out next week. So these are just little thoughts, little things to pay attention for. If we do get a pullback, obviously the time to buy in crypto, just as a rule of thumb for you guys that maybe don't know or just want to keep some little rules in your head, don't buy on the weekends because the stock market closes on Friday. It opens on Monday. So whenever you have this weekend time, you basically don't have crypto that's correlated to the stock market. So it kind of does its own thing. Generally, it'll trend down. There are periods of time where we've seen the market pump really hard on weekends. It really depends, but it's really unpredictable because with crypto being so correlated, especially right now, we're highly correlated to the equity markets. We're wanting to wait until we have the equity market's syncing up with crypto before we make a sound decision. And that's why I'm not really trusting this pump quite yet. Do I believe that we're going to be heading upwards of 30 and 40,000? Yes, I do. But I think that in the short term, the indicators really aren't giving us a clear indication quite yet, so we just need to be watching out for that. Now, when we get into the total market cap, I really love looking at this chart because this one just looks exceptionally bullish. And I always say look at the total market cap whenever you're trying to analyze if you're kind of confused on the direction of the trend, because the total market cap is a little bit easier to follow. It follows Elliott waves a little bit better. Not only that, it follows Fibonacci. It respects Fibonacci levels a lot better. And not only that, but our indicators actually follow and sync up a little better. What I love about the total market cap is this thing bottomed right after a perfect retest of the previous all-time high of the last cycle. We just barely closed below this support here that we made in June. And then we came back down and tagged our previous all-time high. This is why I believe that the cycle low is going to be in. Yes, our cycle low is coming in prematurely of our 4-year cycle time frames, but that's something that can happen, especially because of the fact we have no idea what the price action is going to be looking like when we get closer towards the end of the year. Like I've stated, we could have a big move to the upside here. We could close, run all the way upwards of, 30, 40,000, depending on where Bitcoin ends up going, but we could still get a massive pullback to the downside. And we could close our end of the year right back below this exact same level. That would be a very volatile thing. Who knows exactly what the price action is going to look like. But I mean, if that ended up playing out, it's going to shake out a lot of people. And you already know that a lot of people are going to start FOMO buying back in once this market starts to take back off. I'm going to personally refrain from that because inside of every single Bitcoin cycle, what I've been proven is that if you have patience, if you simply take your profits when the market is going up and you have the patience to hold in cash until you see a sizable correction, there are going to be amazing opportunities to get back into the market, even if the market goes up higher and quicker than you were initially expecting. Now, I thought that right now was a good time to get in. All of this sell-off that we'd been in for the last month, I've been saying that I thought it was a good time to get in. Anytime the market's retesting a previous all-time high of the last cycle for the first time, I can't help but think that that's probably a good time to be getting into the market. And when we get into a shorter time frame, specifically on the daily, I find that it's a little bit interesting that the actual OBV on the total market cap has broken out and actually gone outside of this descending resistance. So the OBV and the crypto total market cap are looking a little bit more bullish. Like I've stated, the crypto total market cap can be a little bit of an early signal indicator when it comes to understanding where Bitcoin's direction is going to take. There's many factors that govern the price of Bitcoin, whereas the total market cap of crypto is more of just a volume indicator, if that makes sense. And so there's going to be different variables that go into the candlestick movement inside of Bitcoin, whereas these ones moving is just comprised data grouped amongst many different platforms and exchanges. And so when we're looking at this could be an early signal that ultimately this will be breaking higher. But like I've stated, I think that we're better off waiting until the end of the weekend once the equity market syncs back up with Bitcoin. Because what if the equity market opens Monday, we get a bearish close, the markets pull back, Bitcoin pulls back, and then you get an opportunity to actually buy back a little bit lower had you have had the patience. If you just got too ahead of yourself, bought in on the weekend, maybe Monday opens bearish, even if it's just a little bit of a sell-off in crypto, that could still equal 5 to 10% depending on the day. That's a big amount depending on how much money you're working with. So anyways, guys, this is what I'm kind of watching out for with the total market cap. Let's talk about another crypto here. And I find that this one is really, really interesting. And one of the things I'm personally looking for is I'm looking for a lot of new altcoins that haven't had a cycle, because those are going to be the ones where all of the new money flocks to. I've seen that every single cycle. You can't always trust the old altcoins. There are going to be old altcoins that stick around. And one of those altcoins that I do believe will stick around is Chainlink. I've kind of bet a lot into this one simply just because of the fact I believe in the mission statement of what it's aiming to do. Being kind of the unity layer of all of these blockchains that can't quite send and receive data or value in between each other. Chainlink is going to be the thing that kind of connects all of that. And so if there was an altcoin from the last cycle that I feel like can definitely have a nice cycle moving forward, I feel like Chainlink is one of those cryptos. Now, it's waiting to be decided. We're going to have to wait and see. Keep in mind, there were many altcoins from the last cycle that never even went close to making a new all-time high. So these are different factors to keep in mind. If this is going to be the case once again, which most likely it will, I think one of the best things that we can do is look for new opportunities in the market. Look for new cryptos that haven't been around for multiple cycles. That's where I think that we can make a sizable amount of money moving forward into this next bull run. And so with Chainlink, what I want to talk to you guys about with this chart is how if we're looking from our exact cycle high to the exact cycle low before we just went sideways for the last couple months, what I found is that it equals exactly 365 days from our cycle top. So if Chainlink is going to be following a 4-year cycle, it needs to be following a 1-year bear market decline. And not only that, but our point from our bottom of our bear market should basically equal 1,450 days from our last cycle low. So we draw that here, we go to here, and it equals about 1,413. So just shy of 4 years, but that is exactly what we want to see inside of a 4-year cycle. And so with Chainlink actually syncing up to a 4-year cycle, with Chainlink bottoming with the rest of the market, with Chainlink being a crypto that from a fundamental perspective, I actually really believe in, as being one of those cryptos that could garnish a lot of mainstream adoption. It already has in a big way. And so what I'm thinking in my head this cycle, what I'm picturing in my head is what is going to be the cryptos that are truly adopted? What are going to be the ones that get mainstream adoption, traction? It's the things that we are actually going to use every single day. And to me, I think Chainlink could be one of those. We are going to have a cycle that is bigger than all of the other cycles. It's going to be a cycle where we actually get the true mania. So what we're going to go back here and look at is the NASDAQ from the internet bubble, because this is, in my opinion, what we will end up seeing from crypto play out to some extent. This was the actual internet bubble. It went from 1985 all the way upwards of basically the very beginning of the year 2000. So we had this massive multi-year cycle. Now keep in mind, guys, that this is going to be different than crypto. This was just a steady, consistent uptrend, higher highs, higher lows that led to a big blow off top. Crypto happens much, much, much faster than the stock market ever will. But what my point is that we had this massive internet bubble. This was the very first major cycle of that internet bubble. And the true internet bubble was basically right here. 1998 until 2000. That was our true internet bubble right there. That was the mania phase. But keep in mind that we had had all of these years worth of steady, consistent uptrending that eventually led to this major blow off top in this mania phase. Now, when we're thinking in terms of cryptos, we would expect that we're going to have that exact same type of euphoric cycle, right? And the cryptos that are ultimately going to be syncing up with the longer investment theory, with the 4-year cycles, following that trend, shows that, in my opinion, there's going to be smart money accumulating those trends. There's this specific money that sees opportunity in these, and so then they're actually buying them. And now when we're taking a look at, say, the total market cap, I believe that we will have another one of those major cycles, right? And I don't believe the most recent move that we saw was that. I think that the move next could be a very similar type of blow off top, right? Where this was our wave 1, this was our wave 3, wave 4. This entire bear market was just a wave 4, and now our wave 5 is going to be the true mania top. I don't know how high it's going to go. We could top at 10 trillion. It might only hit the Fibonacci targets that I always used to have when we were in this bull market throughout this period of time. And so it's hard to say exactly what our targets are going to be, but I think that we will have another one of those major euphoria type of blow off tops. And that's where we see the true euphoric cycle top, right? Where everybody in the retail position starts to get in. NFTs become so mainstream, everybody's using them. Grandparents are getting on board with crypto. That is the true cycle top. Once the internet became mainstream, that was the early 2000s, right? Then we had this big decline. Then obviously we went into a brand new cycle, and if you look at where we're at today, crypto will ultimately do the exact same things. But there is an early cycle that plays out, and there's a big blow off top that plays out in that early cycle, and that's where we see the true riches that are made. And we haven't seen that in crypto yet, in my opinion. We can look at Bitcoin's long-term trend. We can look at everything that we've seen up to this point, and I don't think that we've ever truly seen our real euphoric cycle top. We've had all of these years worth of bubble phases, but in my opinion, we haven't seen true mainstream adoption yet. And in mainstream adoption, I would expect it to play out something like this. A true euphoric type of top, like we've seen in prior cycles. True euphoric type of top. Now, this was a nice euphoric cycle, this was a nice euphoric cycle, but I believe that we still have one more of those coming before this entire multi-year trend is actually going to be completed. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin's topped and done forever. I'm just saying that most likely we have a multi-year bear market. No, I don't think that it's going to be, 20 years or 30 years or anything crazy like that. I think it'll be a shorter amount of time. But I'm just saying that most likely when we do get that true euphoric cycle top, there will be a big multi-year pullback that comes after that. And when I look at this chart for Bitcoin, I really think that we're at the point in the cycle where we could see that true euphoric top leading into all of the retail money pumping into the markets, everybody getting excited about crypto, NFTs, blockchain in general. It starts to get massively incorporated into our technologies, into our schools, all of that type of stuff. And I believe that we're very close to that point. Maybe it's not this cycle, maybe it's another cycle from this. I do think that we're at that point very closely. But when we're looking at the actual structure of what this impulse is showing us, we finished wave 1, we finished wave 3, but because of the fact we're missing wave 5, I believe that this cycle gearing up, well, I should say this next major impulse that's coming into our next cycle, could really be this type of a euphoric type of a move. Now, I'm not saying that the market's just going to shoot up and it's going to go, Bitcoin's going to go clear up to $1 million or $2 million. Nothing like that. Ultimately, I'm keeping the same targets as that I had all the way over here, $250,000 to $300,000 per Bitcoin. I'm not going to get carried away. I don't think that anything changed besides the length of time that it took to get to 250,000. I was a little naive in my thinking that Bitcoin could just go from 65,000 back down, accumulate for 3 months maybe, and then go straight to 250,000. It just wasn't realistic. Realistically, would have been a year and a half worth of sideways action, 430 days worth of price action and accumulation that could take us back to 250,000. It takes time leading to a new impulse, especially impulses as big as Bitcoin, because if we're looking at impulses in years past, this was when Bitcoin had almost no money in its market cap. It didn't take much to send Bitcoin, but when we're looking into the 2017 cycle, it didn't have as big of impulses, but it had a lot of this sideways price action. A lot of this sideways price action, right? And then when it did go breaking up, it still had these pullbacks. And finally, we got a blow off top. Our most recent impulse, I think, is just starting to show how much money is in the market, and the price action is really starting to reflect that. With these impulses and then these year and a half worth of sideways action, impulses, year and a half sideways action, impulses, it's most likely going to continue to play out in that same way. The more money that goes into the market, the less volatility there is in the market, the less the impulses are going to be. They're not going to be quite as volatile to the upside. And I think that the market is ultimately reflecting that. Now, if we're looking at what we've seen in our impulses, they're still very big. They're not quite as big as some that we've seen in years past, but they're still massive. I mean, you're still making huge gains. Altcoins are still blowing up. It's still amazing opportunity. But with us getting ready for this wave 5, I genuinely believe that this could be a true retail cycle. One that we didn't quite get in here. We saw a little taste of. We got a little taste of it with the meme coin phrase, or the meme coin craze, but it never was anything like what we saw at the top of the 2017 cycle, right? Not even close. I think that the next one coming is going to be a lot more closely related to that 2017 cycle as far as how much euphoria was on the market at the time. I believe that that's the move that's coming. It's going to be very profitable. I wanted to give you guys this update as a way to summarize some of my thoughts. If you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server or download my free ebook, links are in the description. Go ahead and check it out. You guys can also sign up for my video course, my signals, follow all of my trades that I post, all of that fun stuff in my private Discord. Links are in the description. Go ahead and sign up on my website. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.